Hello, my name is Demario Elder, and I'm going to be doing the endocrine system today for my presentation. My visual aid is going to be a PowerPoint that I'm using. I can't show you guys because I'll reverse it on the camera, but I will be using it as my aid. So to start off with, the endocrine system is a collection of ductless glands that produce hormones that help the body function. They also help regulate the body as well. So some of the different types of glands we have are the pituitary gland, the thyroid and the parathyroid, the thymus, the adrenal gland, the hypothalamus, the pineal body, the pancreas, the ovaries, and the testes. So starting off, we have the pituitary gland. It's going to be a small pea-sized gland that's located at the base of your brain, right underneath the hypothalamus. It produces several hormones such as the adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH. That's the acronym for it. Follicle stimulating hormone, which is going to be FSH. Growth hormone, which is going to be GH. We have the luteinizing hormone, which is LH, prolactin, and then finally we have thyroid stimulating hormone, which is TSH. So these different hormones do different things. So for instance, the ACTH hormone helps to stimulate the adrenal glands. The FSH, the follicle stimulating hormones, they help to stimulate sperm production in men, and in females it helps in production of estrogen and in the development of the egg. For the luteinizing hormone, it stimulates ovulation if you have ovaries as well. And in men, it has testosterone production. These are also known as, or the LH, the luteinizing hormone, is also known as the gonadotrophic hormone. Sorry, because the testes and the ovaries are also known as gonads. Then we have prolactin, which is a hormone that is typically produced after birth that induces lactation in women, which is breastfeeding. And then finally we have the thyroid stimulating hormone. That one is going to help stimulate the thyroid. So essentially the pituitary gland is like the control base for all the other hormones. It basically regulates and sends signals to different glands to produce hormones and have their necessary function. So the thyroid, which is going to be the next one, is a small butterfly-shaped gland. It's going to be located in the front of your neck. So its primary job is to help speed up or slow down your metabolism. So hypothyroidism is a condition where you have lower metabolism, so you end up maybe with increased weight gain. And hyperthyroidism is the reverse of that, where it is too fast of a metabolism and you end up maybe skinnier and you lose weight a lot faster. It produces calcitonin as well, which helps to control the amount of calcium that's located in your blood. And the parathyroids, which are going to be 4 little nodules that are on the very back of the thyroid, those also help in calcium production by producing their parathyroid hormone. All right, the next one is going to be the thymus. So the thymus is a small gland located in the lymphatic system. So that's going to be the tonsils, spleen, the appendix. Its primary function is to train and specialize white blood cells. So it's the protector kind of your immune system. So you're going to have T cells, white blood cells called lymphocytes that travel from the bone marrow into the thymus, and there they basically stay until they mature and become T cells or T lymphocytes, which are specialized white blood cells that go and fight the diseases in blood streams and all that other good stuff. They help protect your body from infection. They also, the thymus also produces hormones. So it produces the hormones thymopoietin. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. That also helps fuel the T cell production, so it increases the production of white blood cells that go into the thymus and create those T cells. And it also sends signals back to the pituitary, which is kind of funny, to tell other cells, or excuse me, other glands to release their hormones. There's also the thymosin and thymulin, which both help make specialized types of T cells that keep your immune system working properly. And then lastly, we have the thymic humoral factor, and that just makes sure your immune system is nice and healthy and stays balanced. So your white blood cells don't attack everything else, just the bad things. All right. Then we have the adrenal glands. So those are going to be two glands that are right on top of your kidneys. They're going to be small and triangular in shape. And so they produce different kind of hormones such as cortisol, which is the stress hormone, aldosterone, DHEA and andronic steroids, and then lastly it produces adrenaline and noradrenaline. So cortisol is your stress hormone, so that gets released in times of stress, and cortisol helps to regulate your body function back to a calm state. Then DHEA and andronic steroids are most commonly found in men, but in women it helps with the production of estrogen, and andronic steroids in women get converted to estrogen. So, but also it's naturally found in women as well. And then adrenaline and noradrenaline, also known as epinephrine and norepinephrine, are basically the fight and flight response. These are the ones that we know about a lot because of a lot of movies and different media will talk about like adrenaline rushes and different like boosts to human ability. It's sort of like that, but really what adrenaline does is it constricts the blood cells and allows blood to flow to the heart and brain more efficiently. It gives you more blood flow to the muscles as well, which kind of gives you that more strength, I guess you could call it. And it's basically known as the fight or flight hormone because, again, in times of high stress situations where you're potentially facing a life-threatening danger or you're facing a physically threatening danger, you produce adrenaline, and that helps you to either get out of the situation or to solve the situation. Okay. Going back up top, we have the hypothalamus. So that's going to be found in the brain, and it's going to be the main link between the nervous system and the endocrine system. So the hypothalamus helps to keep the body in a state of homeostasis, which is just equilibrium. So everything's working properly, everything's flowing the way it needs to. It produces hormones that aren't actually, so it produces some hormones that are stored elsewhere, and then it produces some hormones that actually are sent directly to the bloodstream from the hypothalamus. So some hormones that are produced inside of the hypothalamus and then stored elsewhere would be oxytocin and vasopressin. Those are going to be stored in the posterior pituitary. So that's basically going to be on the front side of your pituitary gland, where basically they get stored until the hypothalamus sends them a signal to release it into the bloodstream, and that's when it gets released. Then the hypothalamus actually produces hormones of its own, which are called dopamine and somatostatin, and those are going to be produced inside of the hypothalamus that are released directly into the bloodstream. So going a little bit more in depth into the functions of these hormones, oxytocin is a hormone that assists in the birthing process. So it is what stimulates the uterine contractions. So that's what kind of starts your contractions when you're about to have a baby. And it is also thought, it's not actually scientifically proven quite yet, but it is a thought that oxytocin leads to deeper human bonding in terms of physical intimacy or, getting to know your friends more and all that good stuff. Vasopressin is an antidiuretic. It helps control and keep regulated the body's water and urine volume and blood pressure. So that just keeps you, like I said, in that state of homeostasis where everything's balanced and equal. You don't want anything out of whack. All right, then we have the two that the hypothalamus produces on its own. That's going to be dopamine and somatostatin. So dopamine is the feel-good hormone. So it gives you that good feeling and that pleasure feeling when you're doing something. And as you're doing that thing that gives you pleasure, it gives you motivation. And so it's like almost like an incentive to do it more. So dopamine is that feel-good hormone. We all know that one. Then we have somatostatin, which is, like we said, the regulator. So again, you want your body in a state of homeostasis where everything is equal and nice and level. So somatostatin is a prevention of secreting certain hormones. So it'll prevent the secretion of the growth hormone, the thyroid stimulating hormone, and insulin. And all those things will help you to regulate your body. You don't want too high insulin because that will lower your blood sugar, and you don't want too much or too little of any of these other hormones as well. All right, moving on, we have the pineal body. So it's going to be a small gland that's located in the back part of the corpus callosum in your brain. It produces a hormone melatonin, which allows you to have that sleep cycle, that wake and sleep cycle where you go to bed kind of around the same time-ish and you wake up around the same time-ish. It's that circadian rhythm. All right, then we're moving downwards. We have the pancreas. So it's going to be a large gland that's located in the back of your abdomen. So that's your belly area. And it's the link between your digestive system and the endocrine system. So it produces hormones such as insulin and glucagon, that control the level of blood sugar in the stream. So if your blood sugar is high, insulin's produced and that's going to lower it. And then when your blood sugar is low, you're going to get glucagon, which is going to raise it. And that helps keep your body in that state of homeostasis. All right, moving on, we have ovaries, and then ovaries are going to be small oval-shaped glands that are on either side of the uterus, and it produces estrogen and progesterone, and these are what start and continue the cycle, the menstrual cycle. So estrogen production is going to be the highest in the first half of the cycle, and that's basically before the egg drops and it's getting everything ready in the body. And then if you've had conception and the egg is fertilized, then progesterone is the second half where it prepares for the uterus for the fertilized egg. So basically when the egg drops, it's preparing the body for when that happens to get the pregnancy started. All right, and last but not least, we have the testes. So these are going to be the only glands that are located outside of the body. So they're going to be located in the testes of a male, and they produce testosterone and other different hormones that control like the deepness of voice in the man and like the level of body hair that a person has, and also the strength of muscles, like muscle density. So that's controlled by testosterone as well. So there's some other different hormones. So there's the anti-Müllerian hormone. That's going to help in the development of the reproductive organs in males. And then there's estradiol, which is very important in sperm production in men. So that was my presentation on the endocrine system. Hopefully it wasn't too long or too rambly, and I hope that I was concise enough to give you all the information. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.